Hey guys, I'm the 50s Kid. This is part 2 of my coding series. In this video, we're actually going to be recoding the car, the vehicle order in the car, so that we get rid of the automatic transmission, so we have a true manual car. That'll get rid of the little gear icon in the cluster, as well as the DTC codes in the transmission module. So this is part 2. The part 1 of this series was how to install INPA. If you haven't seen that, I highly recommend you watch that, because I go through all the details of what you need to do in order to install INPA software, which is how you get the program NCS Expert. And you need a K plus D CAN cable, also known as an INPA cable. You get this on eBay. I got this for about $20 on eBay. It does come with INPA, but I showed you how to install a version of INPA that you can get online. We're talking about the vehicle order here. The vehicle order is basically it's a list of all the modules that are installed on your car. And it's going to be different for every car. You know, if you have a manual, you're not going to have a transmission computer in your vehicle order. If you have a convertible, you're going to have other modules in the vehicle order for, you know, raising and lowering the top and all that stuff. So the vehicle order is where all those modules are stored that tell your car what's installed, and that way all the modules know what to communicate with each other with. And what we need to do is change that. So we're going to use a program called NCS Expert to change that. And when you start NCS Expert and you run it, NCS Expert needs to read the existing vehicle order from some of the modules in your car. Now, there are basically the vehicle order is stored in 2 different modules. It's like a redundancy backup thing. And it's different whether you have a pre-facelift car or a post-facelift car. In other words, the pre-facelift is going to be the 99, 2000, 2001 cars. Post-facelift is 2002 and beyond. So the 2 modules on a pre-facelift car are the KMB, which is the German abbreviation for the instrument cluster, and LCM, which is the light control module. So you can choose to read the vehicle order from either of those 2 modules, and then you can change the vehicle order, and then you can write it back to both of those 2 modules. On the post-facelift modules, they put an A in front of the names, so A KMB, and then A LSZ. They changed LCM to LSZ. So how do you know which one you have? You're still not sure. Maybe you're in like that in-between year. Just try to read from either. You just try to read from either one. You'll see all 4 of them in the list. Pick one, and if it doesn't work, then that's not what you have. Pick the other ones. Pick the AS. The ones that are opposite. So on a pre-facelift car, the vehicle order is called a ZCS. I don't know why. It's another German abbreviation. You just have to get used to it. ZCS, okay? It is composed of 3 hexadecimal strings. GM, SA, and VN. I don't know what any of those stand for. All I know is what we're interested in is the SA line. It's going to be a 16-digit hex. Now, one thing I should mention is that it's going to be a 6 or an 8-digit hexadecimal string, or the various length hexadecimal strings. There's going to be an extra digit on the end, which is the checksum. So it calculates a checksum from the actual string itself. Now, when you go to modify these strings in the program, what you want to do is you want to erase the final digit, the final checksum. So there's going to be a little checkbox saying recalculate, and when you check that and you hit OK, it'll automatically add back that final digit. But when we go to modify it, you erase that final digit, and then what you want to do is you want to modify the SA. And all we're going to do is after you erase that final that checksum, the last digit in your hex. So let's say this was the 16-digit hex string, which I've written all of the various letters in a hexadecimal string. Let's say this last one was F. What you want to do is subtract 8 from that. So if it's F, you just want to go back 8 positions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 7 becomes your new string. Is that right? Or did we go 1 too many? I think 1 too many there. 8 would become your final string. So that's how you do it. Let's say your last digit was B. You go back, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. your new digit becomes 4. And that's how it works. So if your last digit up here was B in your 16-digit hex string, you erase that, you put in a 4, and then you hit recalculate, hit OK, and it will, you've now removed your automatic control, your transmission control module from your vehicle order. So that's how you do it on a pre-facelift car. I'll go through this again right at the end of the video. I'll show some screenshots of what it looks like. I do not have a pre-facelift car, so I can't take you through it live. But there is a thread on the forum that I found that has screenshots where the guy does go through it and what you're going to see in NCS Expert. So I'll go through it again right at the end of the video just to make sure that's absolutely clear. But what I do have is a post facelift car. So when I start NCS Expert, I'm going to read the vehicle order from the KMB module, and instead of being called a ZCS, it's called an FA. And instead of having all these different hexadecimal strings, it's just going to have a regular text string of options. And the options are the codes for the various modules that are on the car. And I believe, you know what, I'm not going to mention which number the transmission control module is right now, because we're going to see it in just a second when I actually do this. But basically what we'll do is NCS Expert has like a nice little interface. When you go to edit the option string, it pops up a list, and then you can just go ahead and see the individual options that are in that string, and then you can click on one and delete it from the list if you want to, or you can add more to the list if you want to add modules and stuff. It's a little bit easier, a little more straightforward, but we're just going to delete the one that is the transmission control computer and hit OK, and then we'll just recode the modules. Once you've done this, once you've modified the vehicle order, then you need to write it back to both of these modules. And that's basically it. Once you write it back to the modules, you're kind of done. At the very end, once we've written the vehicle order back to these two modules, we'll go ahead and we will reflash all of the modules with all their default parameters. That way, they're all set up to their default settings, and everything is going to work, because now you have a true manual car. I'm not entirely sure if that is required, but I'm going to do it anyway just to make sure. So I know that's a lot to digest and process. I kind of went through it pretty quickly as well. The reason I didn't just jump right to showing you what to do in the program is because I didn't just want to do a step-by-step thing, because you read those all the time. I've recoded my modules. I've replaced a DSC module once before in a video, and I've just done the step-by-step process, but that doesn't mean I knew what I was doing. I didn't really understand any of what it was, because it was just do this, do that, and you're done. And I'm like, okay, fine. What if I want to, recode my modules after I switch to a manual swap? I didn't understand how to do that. I still needed to look into this and really learn it and figure out what the hell was going on. So that's why I explained it this way. I really want you guys to understand what it is we're doing, what you're seeing, and why you do what you do. So I'm sorry if it still wasn't clear, but we're going to do it live. I'm going to take you through it again, and hopefully now that I've gone over all this, maybe you'll understand what we're doing when we're in the program and we're kind of actually recoding the car. So let's get started with that. Okay, here we are. Let's start up NCS Expert. I have the INPA cable plugged into the laptop. I have it plugged into the car. So we are going to hit load profile. I'm going to choose expert mode. Now we want to go into the VIN ZCS FA section. Right here, enter ZCS would be for pre-facelift cars, enter FA would be for post-facelift cars. This is if we knew the numbers already, if we had them written down or something, or we knew what we wanted to enter, but we don't know. We need to read it from the car first, and that's this one right here. ZCS FA from ECU. We'll choose E46. And here's the list of those 4 modules. Now, you can see it says EWS or CAMB right here. I made a mistake earlier on the whiteboard. It's not LCM, it's EWS on the E46s. So just to show you, this won't work for me because I don't have a pre-facelift car. If I hit this, it's not going to work. I got to choose A, KMB. And there we go. You see how I have FA right here? That is my vehicle order. Now, if we hit Enter FA, it's going to pop up the screen, and we're going to hit yes, E46. It's going to pop, first it's going to ask me about this VIN number, and this is the proper VIN number for my car, at least the last 7 digits are proper. These ones are not the proper digits, but you're not supposed to modify these at all. So I'm just going to leave this. Now this is all the options in that string. You'll see right here, here's the string, you can see pound 0901. These are all the various modules on the car, and like I was telling you, it breaks them down into this list right here. So we can add more modules if we wanted to. I'm not going to, because we need to remove something. What we actually need to remove is 205 right here. Okay, now I can just highlight it, and then I can hit delete. Here, we'll go ahead and do that. So we've just deleted 205. Now, one question you might have is, how did I know it was 205? Well, there is a file that tells you what the various modules are. It's in NCS Expert, in Dayton. We go down here to E46 ZST. You can see right here, it's got all these different things listed. And right here, 205, that's automatic. Okay? Let me highlight this for you. And you'll notice this string right here, this is a 16-digit hexadecimal string, and it's 8 at the very end. Remember how I was talking about on the pre-facelift cars, you need to subtract 8 from the very last digit in that 16-digit string? That's where I got that from. So that's that. That's how I know that it's 205 that we actually have to subtract from our vehicle order. So obviously on the pre-facelift cars, you had to enter these strings. You had to, subtract or add them depending on if you wanted to add or remove these modules. And on the post-facelift cars, they just went to this identifier right here, which is much easier to work with. It's just module number 205. So we've removed it from the list. I'm going to hit OK. And now the program has the proper vehicle order. It now knows that, this is the vehicle order I want to work with. There's no 205 in that list anymore. I'm going to hit back. Now, it wants to code all of the modules on the car that it detected. And this job name right here means to actually code the modules. Now, what that means is it's not just going to write the vehicle order. It's also going to write all of the default parameters for each one of those modules. And we don't actually want to do this. What I mean by writing those parameters is you can use NCS Expert to do more than just changing the vehicle order. You can actually change the individual options inside of each one of the modules on the car. So let's say, for instance, you want to change the whether your window down button, if you push it down once, whether the window goes down automatically and then goes back up automatically. Those are all options, and every module on the car has a bunch of different options. You can change those options with NCS Expert, but we are not going to do that in this video. I will make a separate video on how you do that, but since we don't want to change all those options or read all those options right now, we need to change. Well, first of all, we need to not process the car right here. If we hit process car, that would just recode all the modules. That would change all the default parameters and all that stuff. We don't need to do that. We want to just process one ECU. So we're going to hit F4. And in my case, I need to process the AKMB and the ALSZ because I'm on a post-facelift car, right? If I was on the pre-facelift car, I would be processing the EWS, which is not even in this list because I don't have that on this option on the pre-facelift, and you would also be processing the KMB. But since I don't have those options, all I see is AKMB and ALSZ. So those are the ones that I'm going to actually process. So right now I'm going to process the AKMB. So I'm going to hit OK, and you can see that the job name is still this one, SG Codirin. I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly. We need to change the job. And on a post-facelift car, the job we want is called FA Right. On a pre-facelift car, the job would be called ZCS Schreiben. And we don't have ZCS Schreiben here because we're a post-facelift car, so the job on a post-facelift car is FA_right. So I'm going to hit that. Now I'm going to hit execute job. and I've just coded my A KMB module. Now we need to change ECU, and we're going to change it to ALSZ. I'm going to hit OK, and you can see that the job name is still FA Write, and I'm just going to hit Execute Job. Let's just make sure, again, that we're going to code the LSZ module. See the files that it shows? They're all the LSZ files. So yeah, everything seems right. Let's go ahead and execute the job. Okay, that's it for changing the vehicle order. I'm going to go back to main. Let's exit out of the program and then start it back up. Make sure that the changes took. We'll go back to expert mode. Again, we go back to VIN ZCS, and we go to ZCS from ECU, because we're going to read it from the ECU. Hit E46, choose AKMB, and enter FA, E46. Don't change that. You can see 205 is gone. Not there anymore. So all good, it worked. And we can even, just to make sure that the LSZ was written correctly, I can try to read from the LSZ. Go to enter FA. See, no 205, so it's worked correctly. Everything is all good. Now, if we go back, this is the front screen of NCS Expert. Now we're going to process the car, because I want to go ahead and just recode all of the modules with their default parameters. That way they're all set up to make sure that, that they're all set up for a car that doesn't have a transmission computer. I don't know if this step is absolutely necessary, but I saw it in somebody's how-to, and I figured I would just try to run it because it's not going to hurt anything. You're just resetting all of your parameters to their defaults. Basically, this is what you would do if you were messing around with different parameters from some of the modules, and you messed something up, you misspelled something, and now your module's all screwed up. This is what you would do to sort of reset everything to their defaults. So I'm just going to hit process car, then code car. This is the job we want, SG code urine. And hopefully this goes okay. Here in CMED. No response from control unit. Maybe it doesn't have that. Wonder if we can just keep on going. No, can't keep on going. Okay, you know what? We're not going to do that. I'm not going to try to reprocess the car until I figure out what's going on with all of that stuff. All right, so let's shut off the ignition and let's turn it back on. See where we are. So this is still flashing, which probably means that I have to unplug the transmission control computer. I wonder if the car will start though without doing that. Okay, so it still starts the same. All right. So let's unplug the TCM. So in here inside the electronics box, this is the TCM, the transmission computer, and we just need to unplug basically all these blue connectors here. So you just push this little button down, push that down, and we will unplug it. Unplug that one, and that one. Okay, let's try to turn the ignition back on. We still have the little gear icon. So maybe we have to actually erase the codes in the computer or something. Let's try that. Okay, so let's start INPA. E46. And let's go into errors and then clear error memory. Now let's read error memory. Timeout can botshaft EGS1. I should have checked before to see if that was there or not. But I don't believe that that is anything. So I'm going to try to turn off the car and turn it back on. Okay, it's still there. Let's go to the instrument cluster. Transmission to interface disturbed. Interesting. Read the error memory in there. Tog, no candidate, blah blah blah. Let's erase these errors. No CAN ID EGS1. I don't know if that means the transmission control computer or what. Yeah, so that is what that is. It still thinks that the transmission control computer is part of this. So I think what we do need to do is we need to code all those modules right at the end there. And since we couldn't do it en masse, I think I'm going to have to code them one by one. All right, so let's use NCS Expert again. Load expert mode. Oops. So we're going to read our ZCS just like before in this case, our FA. So we've got our FA read into memory. We'll go back. This time, let's try to process each unit all by itself. So this one, it had a problem with ABG before. So I'm going to skip that. I'll just try AEWS. And I'll just try to execute that job. Okay, so that worked. Alright, I'm just going to change ECU. And I'm going to keep going. See whatever works. Execute job. Where are we on BTM? Let's go to FTM. I'll just go down the list here. Error in CABD, so same thing, same problem with the RAD. I guess that's the radio. So I'll skip that. Probably no, a radio error because I don't have the default radio in the car anymore. I've got that aftermarket head unit. So that might be what that is. I suppose I would need to delete the RAD if I'm being, really anal about this whole thing, because there's no more RAD module on the car. Which may be what happened with that first module, the one that got errored out. We'll go back to that after this one's done. So that first one was the ABG. That one was causing an error too. Let's just try that again, just to make sure. Right, so there should be a cabby error and an error log. I'll take a look at those later. I don't know what the ABG module is. You see down here it says MRS as well. I don't know what that is. I'll have to take a look at that and figure out what's going on there. Maybe some of, whatever this module is, maybe this module is faulty. Maybe I've got like a wiring problem. Maybe you guys wouldn't even run into this. I don't really know. So, still got the icon. Let's turn off and back on. Yeah, still got the icon. It flashed a little. Let's go ahead and unplug it this time. Okay, we're unplugged again. Let's see what we get. Oh man, no such luck. I wonder why. Alright guys, I may have found a clue on one of these pages. This is actually the page that contains the instructions for processing a pre-facelift car. And I'll take you through it in a minute, but right here at the end it says, after this, the only other thing you need to do is clear the adaptations on your DME, assuming the transmission harness is already disconnected. So let's do that. We didn't clear adaptations. So I have unplugged the harness, the transmission harness. So let's go into INPA, go into E46, engine, M54. And we want to find the adaptations, which I believe are in F4 and then F7, erasing adaptations. So let's just clear. Do we have a clear all, or no, let's just go through them. F1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's it. So now let's go to exit. So we still do have this error, this timeout error. Let's clear that. See if it comes back. It doesn't come back. Interesting. This might have done it, guys. Because before, when I was playing around with this, and I was, was clearing that error, and it kept coming back. Now it's not coming back. So let's see if that did it. Okay, let's shut her off. Cross your fingers. Aw, man. Still a problem. That sucks. So I just tried to start my car, and it starts, and now the check engine light is off because there are no errors in the DME computer, but the cog is still there on the instrument cluster, and I think that's because in the instrument cluster module, it still has that error, that CAN error. Where are we? Instrument cluster. And error memory, read error. Still has this error, and I can't seem to get rid of it. So I'm wondering if we have to... The one thing I didn't do was I didn't recode the defaults to the instrument cluster or the EGS computer, and I think maybe that's the problem here. So let's go into NCS Expert, go back to Load Profile, and what I'm talking about is when I was manually processing each one of those modules, I skipped the two that we read the FA from. Just, I wasn't thinking about it. I should have recoded, the defaults to those ones as well. So I just need to process AKMB and ALSC. But first, we got to get the FA, the vehicle order. We got to read that from the module again. You can see the 205. Well, let's make sure the 205 is gone. We know it is. We know the 205 is not there. So let's go back. So process ECU. I should have done AKMB and ALSZ. At least I think I didn't do these. Can't remember. Let's do that. Okay. Now let's change ECU and we'll do AKMB. Execute. Alright. We're done with that. Let's go into INPA. Oh, the cog is gone off of my instrument cluster, guys. So I think that was definitely it. Let's just make absolutely sure. Go into instrument cluster. Go into error memory, read error. So that error is still there. Let's clear it. That might just be the history. Let's clear the error. Let's see if it comes back. Read error. Didn't come back. Awesome. That was it, guys. That was the problem. I forgot to code those two modules right at the end there. So there you go. Learn from my mistake. Remember to recode all of your modules, even the AKMB and the ALSZ. So let's read the errors from the EWS module, or what was it? What was the one that I just did? ALSC. Make sure that one doesn't have the same problems. Light switch center, LSC. Error memory. Read error. No errors found. I think we are done. Let's check it out. So as you can see, it's gone. The little error cog is gone. Turn off, back on. No cog. That's pretty awesome. The car starts. Very nice. Very nice. Alright guys, I just wanted to go over what it looks like if you are on a pre-facelift car. This is the page. I will put a link to this page in the description of this video. In fact, I'm going to put a lot of links in the description of this video just so you can kind of go through all of the information I've been through. As you can see, it looks the same. Let's make this bigger. Oh, this is an XP. Window up doesn't work. So obviously we start out, we choose expert mode. As you can see, he selected KMB and he has EWS. Those are the two modules that you need to code, or you would need to send the vehicle order to. You can see here he says enter ZCS. So I was clicking on enter FA down here. I was clicking on this one, F2, enter FA. He's clicking on enter ZCS. And this is what pops up for him. Remember I was talking about those numbers? And he's already erased the last digit right here.
And the digit that he has highlighted under the SA is that the last digit, which you're going to need to subtract 8 from. So as you can see, he says it right here. You know, if it's 8, it becomes 0, 9 becomes 1, A becomes 2, B becomes 3, and so on. So that's all you have to do is you would just change whatever your last digit is, subtract 8 from it. Remember, this is the hexadecimal system. There are 16 characters in the hexadecimal system, 0 through F, and that's all you do. 8 becomes 0, 9 becomes 1, and so on and so on. Then what he did was he hit back, he processed his ECU, and he wrote to the KMB module, and instead of using FA_write, remember what I said, it's ZCS schreiben, or I guess sometimes it's called ZCS write on some modules. So he wrote the vehicle order to the back to the KMB. He says it's optional to do the EWS. I'm assuming that the reason he says it's optional is because when you go down and you process the whole car, I'm assuming that writes the vehicle order. At the same time, it resets the parameters. You can see this page looks a little familiar. This is what we kind of got hung up on because I couldn't communicate with the ABG module, and I had to manually write or process each one of these ECUs. But why don't you give it a try? Give the whole process car part a try. Maybe that'll work for you. I don't, maybe you'll run into a different situation than me. But now you know what to do if this does not work right here. If hitting process car and trying the SG codeirin job on all the modules doesn't work when you hit process car, which is going to do all of them. You know what to do. You can just process each individual ECU, and don't forget, in your case, don't forget the EWS and the KMB modules, because you need to reprocess those as well. Then you need to go into INPA and you need to reset your adaptations, and then you'll be done.
So we got it done, and honestly guys, I'm really happy that it went down that way, that I ran into those problems and I had to problem solve my way out of them, because I never would have been able to do that if I didn't understand what was going on. If I was just following a step-by-step how-to, once I got to that process car section and it gave me that error, I would have been dead in the water. I wouldn't have known what to do next, but I did because I understood everything that was going on, and I hope you guys understand everything that's going on as well. I hope that my explanation was simple enough and everybody could follow it. Let me know if you didn't understand something. Give me a comment down below and I'll try to do my best to help you out. But I think you guys now have the knowledge you need to not only code your car, but to figure out your way out of any problems that you actually have. So yeah, if you like the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to see more. I'm the 50s Kid. Thanks a lot for watching.